Oh shit. What's going on, everybody? It's Dan, Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. How you doing? I'm doing all right. I can't really complain. Things are going pretty good. It's hot as blazes right now here in the Sunshine State. We are getting a lot of sunshine. It's a nice, beautiful day. So naturally, I thought that I would sit indoors and do a little collection update slash unboxing video for everybody. Just share with you some of the stuff that I've been listening to. I titled this Massive, because isn't that the thing that everybody, you put that in big bold letters, and that's the one that's supposed to entice everybody to click onto the video, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, man, so basically, the two things here are, one is I'm gonna do a quasi unboxing video. I'm gonna stage it like the moon landing. I'm gonna do this real quick. I got a package in the mail from a record store in New Kensington, Pennsylvania called Preserving Record Shop. Fantastic place. I go on their Discog page and they've got tons of killer stuff. I've ordered from them before. I never have any issues dealing with them. So I went through. They had a couple things that had caught my eye a while ago. And then me being me and making the mistake that so many people do in the collector scum sphere, I kept scrolling through. And then you find this. And then you find this. And you find this. And long story short, I wind up with a whole stack in the order. But most of them were CDs. Well, all of them were CDs, but pretty much all of them were very fairly priced. So it really, as far as a haul would go, it wasn't that bad. And then I wanted to talk about a bunch of new releases that I've been listening to and purchased throughout the course of the year thus far, but I just haven't had the time to talk about them. You know, it's one of those things. Like I have a full-time job. I do have what slightly resembles a life outside of making videos, and I have hopes and dreams and desires to one day lift myself away from all of this. But you know, just I do other things. You know, the gym thing being a constant that I feel I have to get in. It's one of those things. It keeps me from falling apart. I feel like it keeps me away. It keeps me from. It keeps me at least 6 inches away from the grave for now, and so it's a high priority of mine. And speaking of, since I mentioned this on to our buddy Anthony, my buddy Anthony from Metal Miners. You missed out on the last video I did because I was able to figure out and negotiate some sort of better quality with the StreamYard on a Google Chrome versus my Brave browser. So you missed about 10 minutes of gym talk and this unboxing. So now you get the gym talk. So basically what I'm trying to do is, I did leg day the other day. Trying to get my squat press up because I can't do actual barbell squats because of my neck issues. I can't have that much crap loaded up against the back of my neck and on my back and spine. So I do the squat press, the seated leg press machine. And I hadn't been able to test myself in a while just because I was in physical therapy and all that sort of stuff, so I really didn't have the time to do all that, so I missed leg day for about a month. Got back into it, tested myself. I was able, last time I really tested myself, I was able to put up 500 for a few reps, and I was back at that. I did 500 for 3 reps, which isn't the most amazing thing on the planet. I mean, it's not like I'm squatting 500 or anything like that. The leg press, it's a little bit different of a mechanism, so people tend to be able to go a little bit heavier with that. But nonetheless, it was still pretty cool. So I'm just trying to get my, I'm going to try to get my reps up on some different like quantities and try to get, you know, see if I can press past that and maybe put 6 plates on each side, and that would put it at like, what is that, 90 times 6, that's 540. I don't know. I don't really need to go too much higher than that, I don't think, but it's just one of those things where I just like to test myself. But also got to be careful because I'm getting older, and I'm sure the knees won't appreciate me trying to put that much weight on them and that much resistance and that much stress on them. But nonetheless, that's the gym talk. Otherwise, going real well as far as that goes. You know, feeling, knock on wood, feeling pretty good for the most part. You know, my neck is my neck, so it's there's only so much that I'm gonna do. But the longer I stay out of going to get checked on for it, then the better. But no, that's all been going good. So anyhow, let's get into this. Preserving Record Shop, my unboxing. So most of it was doom metal. If you're not familiar with the Pennsylvania area, New Kensington is right around the Pittsburgh area, which is kind of cool because I have a relative that lives there now. So I might actually be able to coordinate a visit with the relative and then actually go check out the store in real time. So first up, the first thing that caught my eye was this here, this Monster Magnet. That right there. This is their first album. I'm kind of a dum-dum. I thought Spine of God was their first one. But this is a Glitter House Records release. A lot of it is stuff from, you get a mix of the demos and you get a mix of a couple songs made it onto Spine of God, like Snake Dance and Nod Scene. But very cool stuff. If you're familiar with Monster Magnet, psychedelic, heavy psych, hard rock kind of stuff. They went a little bit more commercial after a few albums, wind up signing one of the major labels, which was I can't see because I got one of the more commercial ones. I also picked this up. This is the UK version of God Says No. It comes with bonus tracks, which Silverlight, I'm pretty sure I've heard that on, I can't remember where I've heard that before, but I heard that before this. But again, very cool stuff. Monster Magnet dips very heavily into the heavy psych rock sound, stuff I enjoy, but just trying to beef up my Monster Magnet collection because I still have a few of their things that I don't currently own, and they are one of my favorite bands, so I'm just trying to beef that up. And then as far as favorite bands, I picked this up as well. I found this Body of Light by King Witch. This is on Listenable Records. This is their second release. King Witch is a three-piece from Scotland. Again, more heavy psych, doom type of stuff. I think some people would call it post-grunge. I guess that's accurate, even though I hate the post-anything label. But they did do a cover on their most recent album, 3, of Jesus Christ Posed by Soundgarden. So I guess that's fair. But fantastic stuff. I mean, if you like the heavy psych doom sound, this would be right up your alley. It's more in the traditional sense, but Laura Donnelly, the vocalist, she has an amazing voice. It's very gravelly at times, but also real bluesy and soulful. Very expressive. Very cool band. Very cool stuff. And again, if you like the heavy psych or the doom or any of that sort of thing, this would be right up your alley. Next up, and hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, is Heavy Burden by Navis. These guys are they're a German doom band. I'm pretty sure they're German. I keep getting them mixed up with another band that's from the Ukraine. And very cool stuff. I like the layout on this entire thing. Really, really cool. They did the same thing on the most recent one, Back Home, which I picked up recently. It was released last year. It was good. It's just one of those that I didn't really have a lot of time to listen to. It came out on Dying Victims, but this one came out on Metamatter Records. So I haven't listened to this yet, so I can't really give you too much of a exposition on it, but very cool stuff. And then I almost forgot, more Monster Magnet. I picked up Tab. Fantastic EP. Tab alone is most of the album. This came out on Caroline Records, but very cool stuff. Again, just beefing up my Monster Magnet collection. A lot of these things I haven't owned, so I felt like it was high time to do that. But again, Monster Magnet, very cool band. I really enjoy them. They're one of those that I grew up listening to. And then to try to close it out real quick, I picked up a couple of albums from Pittsburgh area doom band Penance. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Penance, but I got Proving Ground and Spiritual Natural. Starshine, Dawn of a New Day on this one is tremendous. Brian Ballack. He's got another one with a great voice. Just very unique as far as the Doom sound goes. They're more in the Sabbathy, traditional Doom style. This one has Mary Bielek from November's Doom on here, which is very cool. And also, fun little... this is the reason I got this as well, as opposed to some of the other versions they had. This came out on Martyr Music Group, and there's a special comp disc in there as well. So I'll check that out. It's got Penance on here. It's got a couple Penance songs. It's got November's Doom. I think there's a Broken Hope song on here. There's Sinister. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff on here. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, there's Broken Hope, Sinister, a band called Circle of the Dead, How Like a Winner. Yeah, very cool stuff. So that was kind of exciting, is that there was an extra disc in there. And then Proving Ground, that's an earlier release. But again, big fan of the band. I just have never owned any of their stuff. Always used to listen to them back in the MySpace days, dating myself here. But yeah, very cool band, very underrated. They fall into like that Pale Divine. Trying to think of a couple of other lesser known, like even like the Iron Mans and bands like that. Like very good, very cool Doom bands, but very underrated. Not a lot of people talk about them unless you're really heavily into like the Doom scene. And Pennsylvania in particular, they had a very vibrant Doom culture there, and that's Pale Divine, Penance, and a few other bands. Brian was in another band called Argus. Not the Argus from Tampa. There's one down here where a couple of the members of Nasty Savage are a part of it. But Argus Up is a Doom band. They're also excellent. They're another band I'm looking into getting some of their stuff and finding that. But yeah, man, that's my unboxing. And if you ever go on Discogs and you want to check out a cool store, check out Penance Records. All right, so now on to the main event. I would do my JR impression, but it really hurts my throat. How to talk like JR? It gets my voice all scratchy and my throat starts hurting. My God, King, that man's got a family. Oh, anyhow. So, I'll start off with this one. This is Mammon's Throne, My Body to the Worms. This came out on Hammerheart Records. They're a 5-piece from Australia, Melbourne, Victoria to be exact. Excellent stuff, excellent cover art. If I were to describe the band, I would say that they kind of sound like if the band Worm and their new album Necropalace left you feeling a little bit wanting, this is the type of stuff that it would sound like. It's extreme metal. I'm trying to get away from the overclassification of subgenres. A lot of people know they're on the same page as me on this one. It gets ridiculous. You know, a few people have talked about it on streams and on videos before, but it gets insane. And I talk to normie type people about music, and sometimes I'll talk to them about the metal stuff that I'm into, and I talk about this, and they're like, yeah, and even the stuff that I listen to, it's the same thing. It's just, it gets too much. But yeah, it's a very, very cool album. Every Day More Sickened is probably the top song that I would recommend as far as that goes. But to compare it to anything, I would say that if this last Worm album got a little too experimental and they kind of drifted away from that signature sound that people are used to when you hear them, I would give Mammon's Throne a whirl, because they're a fantastic band, very cool stuff, and I'd recommend it. Next up, this one I was super excited to pick up. This is A Dark Poem Part 2, Sanguis by Green Carnation. This came out on Season of Mist. This is the second in a trilogy of A Dark Poem by Green Carnation, which is I want to say they're a Finnish band, 5-piece, progressive, goth, metally, kind of mixed mashup. They used to be a little bit more death metal-y back in the day, I've gathered. The last one they did, Part 1, that was excellent. The Shores of Melancholia, fantastic release. Uh, so many cool songs. There's 6 songs on that album, and 3 of them are amazing. This one's no different. This one has, there is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. Sanguis, the opener, it's got a killer John Lord, Deep Purple B3 organ riff in there that goes throughout the entire song. It ebbs and it flows. The vocalist, whose name I'm not even going to try to butcher, he's got a phenomenal voice, very expressive. A lot of the lyrical content is centered around like deep internalized pain being externalized. You know, lots of memories of a poor upbringing, and I think maybe with Fire and Ice there might even be like some sort of like nature. I don't want to go with the whole global warming theme, but I feel like that's kind of a bit of it. But don't quote me on that, because I really haven't looked at and examined the lyrics that deeply. So, you know, I could be just talking out of my ass, which we all know that sometimes I do that, but it is what it is. You know, what are you gonna do? I'm just a dumb loudmouth hillbilly, so what can I say there? But that said, you know, this is an excellent release. It's probably going to be high up on my best of list. I still like part 1 a little bit better. I got chatting with Necrotic Nick from Thralls of Metal in his their review of the album, and he really liked this one a little bit more. I still like the first one a little bit more, but this one definitely, it's a grower. The more you listen to it, the more you pick up on different things. But it's a very broad, very grand, very, very epic, grandiose kind of album. Song structures, songwriting, just excellent stuff. So if you're looking for something a little different than the death or the black metal or even the doom metal, I'd go check out Green Carnation. So next up, I'm going to try to get this in some sort of working order here. I'm going to go with Liturgy of Death by Mayhem. This came out on Century Media. Mayhem does not need any long-winded explanation or introduction from me. Everybody knows who Mayhem are. This is a fantastic album. I honestly, I'm not a huge Mayhem fan, but I picked this one up because I wanted to check it out and see what all the hubbub was. I have De Mysterious. I've listened to Death Crush. I don't really spin De Mysterious all that often. I listen to it very sporadically. They actually, with the exception of Sons of Northern Darkness and Nightwing, and I mentioned this before, with the exception of those 2 albums, I really didn't get into black metal all that much growing up. Like, I read Lords of Chaos, and reading all the extracurricular nonsense that all the bands were getting into, it just really left a sour taste in my mouth, and it made me feel like these guys are all a bunch of retards, and they take this shit way too seriously. Like, they're all killing each other and burning down churches and all this crazy nonsense. And then they're trying to justify it, while they're all sitting, you know, one's sitting there like kind of half-assed rotting in prison, and he's trying to justify his goofy-ass decision-making and all that sort of thing. And, you know, I know some people say the book is dog shit and the movie's even worse, but nonetheless, back when I read it back in the day, that was kind of the impression that I got, and it really dissuaded me from listening to black metal, which is a shame because there's a ton of killer bands, especially from that second wave of black metal, and so I've been catching up on that over the past few years. But yeah, man, very good stuff. I would say probably Weep for Nothing, Funeral of Existence, and Perfidious Death are probably my favorite songs that I would recommend on the album. But yeah, man, go check it out. Mayhem, Liturgy of Death. All right, so next up, we are going to go with this one. This is Haneda by Cruel Force. Cruel Force are a German thrash band, more in the style, in the vein of, say, a Slayer, a Creator, Destruction, a lot of the big four Teutonic thrash bands. But very cool stuff. This is a follow-up. This came out on Hell's Headbangers. It's a follow-up to Dawn of the Axe, which came out, I want to say, in 2023. And they're getting a lot of buzz. I've seen a few people, a few channels. S&T Young is one I follow. Steve was talking about this. He was playing some of the stuff. Ethereal Metal, I can't remember the dude's name, but he's got a good channel. I watch that whenever he's posting videos. He was talking about this latest album. And yeah, it's very much in that vein of that old school Slayer, Creator, Sodom type of thrash. So, and it's not necessarily derivative. Very cool stuff. Warlords is probably a really cool song that I could recommend if you want to check out. But they're getting a lot of buzz, so we'll see. A lot of people like them. I think they like this a little more than I did. I would say, as far as a criticism, I think the whole rolling tom thing, the drum fill that the drummer does on this, I think it gets a little oversaturated. Like, it's a little too much, a little too overkill on that one. It's almost like every song it's and it's just like, okay, we got it. Can you do something else here? And that would probably be my main criticism of it. So that's why it's kind of like not like high up on my list of things. Like, oh, this is amazing, and that's one of the main reasons why. But otherwise, it's a very good album. It'll scratch that itch if you're looking for that old school like thrash kind of style, like Slayer vocals, the Creator Sodom riff, stuff like that. It's cool. I enjoyed it, but just probably not as much as some other people did is probably the best way I could say that one. Then we're going to stick in Germany. We're going to stay here for a minute. And I want to mention this one. This is Barbaric Oath, Sword, Sorcery, Vengeance. This came out on Caligari Records. It's a two-piece. It's two of the guys from Putridarium. It's a side project of theirs. It's a war metal project. And it's lyrically based in the worlds of Robert E. Howard, Sword and Sandal movies from the 80s, lots of references and movie samples from Conan the Barbarian, Deathstalker. And that's really what caught my eye and got my interest with it, because I love all that stuff. It's just that was such a cool time with films and filmmaking. All of those movies that came after Conan. I mean, Conan's phenomenal. I mean, and I heard they're trying to do King Conan, but we'll see how that goes, because by the time they finally get that done, Arnold will be in the ground, and I don't even know how much I would want to see him running around in his 80s trying to be the world's toughest warrior, but we'll see how that goes. They've been talking about that for years. But anyhow, yeah, just I loved all that stuff, all the Deathstalker and the Barbarians and all that sort of stuff. It takes me back to a time when life was glorious, and you got movies with amazing set pieces and all these wild ass looking characters on screen, and you had Playmates and Penthouse Pets all getting naked every 5 seconds in a movie, and you had friggin' Monique Gabriel was like the B-movie queen, and every movie she had her tits out, and just it was a glorious time to be alive, a glorious time to go through puberty. It was just a lot of fun stuff. But going back to the music, it's definitely in that blasphemy, arch goat, conqueror, revenge type of style of black and death metal. So if that's the sort of thing that you're into, I know it's kind of an acquired taste for a lot of people, then this is cool. I mean, they don't waste a lot of time on this one. It's probably about 17 minutes long, maybe 20 minutes, I want to say. And it's blistering the whole way through. Powered me through a bunch of my workouts recently, and then I was just blasting it the other day, and still sounds just as good. Yeah, Barbaric Oath, Sword, Sorcery, and Vengeance. Check it out. So next up, we're going to stay on the war metal theme here. We're going to stay in the war metal kick. And this is the band Spear Siege, Phonic Malevolence. This came out independently on Anti-Cryoconoclast Productions, which is vocalist and bass player Jake Holmes. That's his label. In the middle there, that's Zeke Drachenfels, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and Sam Axelrod is the drummer. They're a three-piece from Texas, war metal. This thing is about also little under 17 minutes long. Just blistering black and speed. Again, you like stuff like your blasphemies, your archgoats. Zeke and her, she's a shredder. I mean, just fantastic. Definitely from that camp of Gene Palabicki and Trey Azagdoff and all of those types of nasty shredding, ripping up and down the neck and the dive bombs and all that sort of stuff. You know, very cool stuff. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Kind of cool fact here, fun fact, is that a bunch of the metal YouTube people, a few of them got mentioned in here. Dave from Ghoulish Grin got mentioned. Lord Necron and The Witching Hour got mentioned. Shredbeard and Fomorian Productions got mentioned. Melanie Loves Death Metal. Bob Kelly, who's a guy who I see commenting all the time on videos. A couple other people I want to say. Sadistic Horse, they got mentioned in here. Perdition Temple. A lot of cool people. There's lots of there obviously a lot of these guys. Jake sent me a note and mentioned something about rest in peace to Ross the Boss. Absolutely. And yeah, so I guess a lot of these guys, and I guess Jake did Shredbeard's channel. Shred didn't even know he was in the liner notes. I reached out to him and he said, "Oh crap, I didn't even know that." I was like, "Yeah, you're in the liner notes, dude." And so he's like, "Oh, that was cool." And he's like, "Oh, Jake's his guy." And then I go and I checked out. I went to go find the videos because I wanted to find. I know Jake's got a YouTube handle, so I wanted to check it out. But I'm sure like Zeke and Sam also, they've probably been in chats for live streams and stuff like that. And I wouldn't have the foggiest clue because I don't know people that well as far as that goes, and I'm sure half the people don't even really know me outside of the fact that I do these goofy ass channel videos. And but yeah, man, very cool stuff. I would recommend it. Go show them some love. I'm sure they probably have a couple more copies of the CD left of the EP. I think they made about 250 of them, so I don't know how many are left. But yeah, man, if you're into the war metal stuff, go check it out. It's cool stuff. And also, I think a couple of the members, I think Zeke and Jake are also in a band called Churchicide, who's I've heard the name bandied about, but I can't say I'm real familiar with them. And then there's another band, Wormhole, if I'm saying that correctly. That's another band that I think that Sam and Zeke are both affiliated with. So if this floats your boat and you want to go check out more of their stuff, that's the way to do it. So next up, we're going to get a little weird here. This is the band Highgate. This is a Florence, Kentucky three-piece. I believe there's two brothers that are in the band. Jamie and Steve Porter. Jamie on guitar, bass, and vocals. Steve on drums and vocals. And then Greg Brown on vocals. So I'm going to presume that Greg does the lead vocals, and then Jamie and Steve do backups. But this is a 5-song, full-length on Horror Pain Gore Death Productions. One of my favorite labels that I've discovered over the past year or so. That cover art is done by a gentleman named Rotting Rain, or a company named Rotting Rain. Couldn't really tell you the difference. This is sludge metal in the vein of... There's elements of I Hate God in here. There's elements of Wait. I would even say a little bit of the Melvins. It's got very tortured vocals in here. So it's definitely something like with sludge metal. I know it's kind of an acquired taste. Especially when you get certain types of it. When it gets more like it gets more experimental or things like that. It's not just straight up like southern sludge like I Hate God or Crowbar, or it's not kind of that almost grungy sludge like the Melvins. Sometimes people can kind of get a little too throwing too much crap at the wall, but it's extreme metal at its core. And I would recommend it. As far as the song, I would say check out Terraforming Hell. That's a pretty cool track. Definitely, it's got a lot of ebbs and flows, and it bobs and it weaves and it shifts on a dime. But yeah, man, and if you like it, go pick it up. I'm sure the band would appreciate it. Highgate, Prophecies of Eternal Horror. Next up, we're going to do a couple grindcore releases. So this one just came out recently. It's Melting Rock, Infatuation with Premeditation. This came out on Hell's Headbangers recently. I know they had some issues with the release. The release date came and went, and I think they were having issues getting the stuff to the warehouse to ship out, and it took like an extra week or so for the orders to ship out, which is fine. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I was actually going to do a review earlier on this, but that was kind of the reason that I didn't, because I didn't have my copy of it. I did hear the digital download, and it's excellent. It's a three-piece from Aurora, Illinois, the hometown of fictional characters Wayne Campbell and Garth Algar. But yeah, they broke up, I guess, in 2020, and this is the culmination of a 4-year-long journey putting this album together, the process of putting it together. It's Aaron from Mulder on drums, Brian Knox or Cox, or I don't think it's Cox. Brian Cox is an actor, but I want to say Brian Knox, and then on guitar, and then Ted Sutka on vocals. And I'm not the hugest grindcore guy, but I did enjoy this. It was fun, and fun in the sense that if you like slipping around in emulsified cadaver flesh and guttural viscera, then this would be the kind of fun that you might enjoy, because it is gooey, gory, slimy, vocally and lyrically. They could be talking about anything from a perfectly baked chicken breast to a cure for cancer or plans for Middle East peace. You're not going to be able to tell the difference, because you can't understand half of the lyrics on this, which is kind of the appeal of a lot of grindcore. But that said, you can't really tell. There's lots of that pig squealing and gurgling vocals, which I know kind of turns some people off. But if you're into stuff like a ETD, or I would say maybe like a Pungent Stench, or things of that nature, Napalm Death, Carcass, then this is the type of stuff that would appeal to you. Or the band I'm about to mention in a second here. Definitely go check this out. I would say The Surgeon Was Comatose is one of my favorite songs, but it's a pretty kick-ass album. It's very short. It's, again, less than 20 minutes long, so you can listen to it over and over again and really kind of digest the material, and hopefully not get sick from all the formaldehyde and bacterial sludge, goo and gore and all that sort of thing. Jokes, bad puns and whatnot. All right, let's make some music. So next up, this is Red Asphalt by Exhumed. Again, I was going to talk about this. I was going to do a separate video. I just don't have time. I just don't have as much time as I would like to do these things. But very cool stuff. 4-piece grindcore, long-time veterans of the scene. Matt Harvey, Raw Sewage, both trading off vocals on this thing. You got Sebastian Phillips on guitar and vocals. You got Mike Hamilton on drums. very cool, very fun stuff. Again, grindcore. They, as far as bands that do that style, they're definitely at the top of the game as far as that goes. My favorite tracks on here are honestly probably the ones that are a little bit slower or a little bit groovier. Like, I love the Fumes. The Fumes is a great song, great closer. It even has a little bit of a pungent, stenchy kind of, not just the vibes of the song, but there's a little like little gurgle in there towards the end that reminded me of a pungent stench song. Shovelhead, I really enjoy the beat on that. But as far as the faster stuff that really kind of is more traditional grindcore, Unsafe at Any Speed is really good. The title track Red Asphalt's really good. Death on Four Wheels, but it's a really good album. It's one of those that I think I'm probably gonna have to listen to a couple more times for it to really sink in. Again, it didn't like wow me like say like Immolation or Monstrosity's latest releases or even COC, but it's good. And it's definitely for people who are fans of Exhumed, who are fans of grindcore. This is the type of thing that I think they've come to expect from Matt Harvey and the crew, and they're not going to be disappointed. Finally, I added this one as a bonus. I just was thinking to myself, oh hell, I'll talk about this. I haven't talked about. I was actually going to add this to a black metal recommendation list of things, but I figured it's a new release, and it kind of tied in nicely because Raw Sewage did the layout on this. This is a Santa Clara, California band. They're symphonic black metal, and it's the band Vessels, and this is their release Home. They put it out themselves independently. Again, symphonic black metal, and it's an album that I'll just read the notes here. Valera Pietrangelo, she does a lot of the composition, the orchestration, lyrics, and vocals. Ron Graves on drum or bass, Nick Brown on drums. They got a bunch of other people to do some session work, but it's about her identity. The project was born from necessity, an outlet for anything and everything to do with who I am. Vessels allows me to explore. It allows her to explore her dysphoria and background in a way that helps her piece together what it all means and how to live in a world that she doesn't believe is her home. And that's kind of the idea behind this. It's like it's a personal journey through life and the singer's experience and trying to make sense of it all through the music. And musically, it's along the lines of, I would say, like a Cradle of Filth. I don't really listen to a ton of symphonic black metal. I'm familiar with like Moonlight Sorcery. I would say Ancient, early Ancient is another good comparison to draw here. And maybe that Cat Enthroned, I see they're getting ready to come out with a new one, so I see them popping up on my YouTube feed a lot. But yeah, it's very good stuff, and it's definitely, if you're a fan of anything like if you're a fan of stuff like Cradle of Filth or anything in that vein, then I would recommend this. And yeah, go pick their stuff up if you like it. I'm sure they'd appreciate the support and like people hearing their music. that's what I got for you. It took me a while to do this. This will probably, with music added in, it's gonna probably clock in at about an hour or so, which is heady material. But you know, that's what I do here in my studio gym, fortress of solitude. I'm running out of steam again. I need to go eat something. But anyhow, uh, so those are a bunch of new releases that I haven't really had time to talk about that I've listened to and picked up and felt like sharing with everybody. So I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. I'm Dan. This has been Moonshine Talking. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you're new here and you haven't already, go do all the things that everybody asks you to do. I certainly appreciate it. The growth of the channel is always appreciated. Whether 5 people watch this silly nonsense or 500 or 5,000 or 5 million, it doesn't matter to me. It's fun either way. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing all this techie stuff as much as I screw it up. I'm fascinated with it, so that's why I keep doing all this stuff and just enjoy talking about metal. Just enjoy talking about all the music that I love and sharing it with people and trying to just make those connections with people who enjoy the same things that I do. So, all right, as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Everybody, have a good one. Take it easy. Keep headbanging and iron slanging, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.